Our main story for tonight's show is going to be about the federal government laying out a proposal for a digital safety watchdog to crack down on hate online. And of course, this goes hand in hand with Bill C36 that was slated to. They could pass that. And there's some people out there that say, oh, that will never pass. That's too far-fetched. What do you mean it's too far-fetched? They've already enacted, vaccine passports and digital identification, and you just expect them to stop at free speech? Yeah, no. This could easily pass. And the thing that kind of saved us in the short term was that it's summer break for Parliament, right? And then with this election coming up, if there's an election called, then basically all bills that have been proposed that haven't passed, they get sidelined or thrown out until that new government is elected. So in the short term, we're kind of saved on Bill C36. However, even without C36 passing, okay, the federal government has laid out a proposal for a commission to begin the hunt of these hateful actors online as a precedent to Bill C36. So that's going to be your main story for tonight's show. Main story on tonight's show here, all about this proposal for this commission. So it says here, the federal government is laying out a proposal for a new digital safety commission that will have the power to regulate hateful content online. That would place a new obligation on those providers, like YouTube or Facebook, to remove 5 categories of hateful content and review complaints within 24 hours. The new regulator would also get a last-ditch power to apply for court orders to have telecommunications companies block access to platforms that persistently refuse to remove child sexual exploitation or terrorist content. Okay? So take note of those two things that they're lumping together there. And we're going to be talking about that coming up here too. Officials said that the definition of hate speech would match that proposed under legislation to amend the criminal code, which has not passed yet, Bill C36. And if you guys forget what the definition of hate speech that they're trying to change it to under Bill C36 is, the new definition of hate speech is if you detest or vilify someone or something. That's the definition of hate speech that this commission is going to go by. Okay? Says here, 82% of Canadians say that they believe social media firms should be mandated to inform law enforcement of any posts that spread hate or racism, with 80% saying that they want to see more regulation of those platforms in Canada. Which, by the way, this poll that was done, it was done by Global News. This was a internal Global News poll. So, AKA, don't trust those numbers. AKA, those numbers are fake. Those numbers are pulled out of Global News' ass. Okay? But this is the type of propaganda that they're trying to push to try and normalize the idea that hateful content and racism and terrorist content online should be regulated, right? The proposed Digital Safety Commission would include 3 bodies: a Digital Safety Commissioner, a Digital Recourse Council, and an advisory board providing guidance to both. The Digital Recourse Council would serve as a mechanism for individuals to challenge the decisions by platforms after reviewing complaints about harmful content. For example, if someone submitted a complaint to Twitter alleging hate speech, but Twitter dismissed that complaint, the individual could take the matter to the Digital Recourse Council to seek a binding decision on whether the content in question should be removed. A separate power proposed in the measures would allow the Digital Safety Commission to ask the federal court to order internet service providers to block a social media platform if that platform has, quote, persistently refused to remove 2 kinds of content: child sexual exploitation or terrorist content. Global security agencies have increasingly highlighted the threat posed over recent years of what is now known as ideologically motivated violent extremism. It's a catch-all term designed to cover 4 categories of violent extremism that are not primarily motivated by factors like religion. So there's that. So you're going to, let's kind of visually lay this out for all you guys, okay? Let's kind of visually lay this out here. Let's kind of have a little visual representation of what this council is going to look like. You're going to have a commissioner at the very top, right? And he's going to kind of oversee everything, the final say, so to speak. Underneath that, you're going to have the council, the hate speech council, which will be undoubtedly paid members of the federal government to sit here and review cases of online hate or online extremism. And then below that, you're going to have the various organizations that will influence the decisions that the commissioner as well as the council make. And on top of this, people can walk up to them. They can they can either submit these things online, or I'm assuming that they're going to have some kind of office somewhere to drop off documents and stuff to. You'll have all these Antifa freaks walking up to the federal government, dropping off, oh, this guy said the N-word online. Oh, well, this guy made some racist TikTok. This guy made some homophobic tweets. Then all of a sudden, you're going to get shut down on your social medias. And it's not even because of a bill. It's not even because of a bill that passed. It's because of a commission that the Justin Trudeau government just said, oh, we're just going to make this happen. If you guys still think that we live in a democracy, if you guys still think that democracy is worth preserving, that this democracy is worth preserving, you guys might be a little bit lost. For anybody out there that still thinks that binding documents and the Constitution and the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is going to save us from these types of things happening, from our Canadian regime, the Justin Trudeau regime, from infringing on our rights, if you think that holding up a document and saying, oh, well, it doesn't say that in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, if you think that that's going to stop the government and our enemies and these evil globalists from coming after us and prosecuting us and sending us to jail for making a joke online, then you're sadly mistaken. The Charter of Rights and Freedoms doesn't mean anything anymore, okay? The Constitution doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't. It simply doesn't. They're doing whatever they want at this point. And this is why obtaining power is quite literally the only avenue that we can go down. We can't defend ourselves. We can't save the country. We can't put Canada first without obtaining power within a reasonable amount of time before 2030, right? It's going to be ultimately a kangaroo court, right? It's going to be a kangaroo court with all these freaks in it, both on the council, but then also, just freaks snitching on you to the government. It's going to be a bunch of, snitches. It's going to be your neighbors. It's going to be your coworkers. It's going to be some random guy all the way across the country that saw, one of your funny tweets. And they're going to send it into the federal government, and then you're going to go to jail. Or you're going to be fined $70,000. That's what it's going to be. Right? And like I said, the only way that we stop this is by obtaining power. Right now, this is a massive play. And the globalist left, they're basically saying, yeah, we have all the power in this country. We have all the power in the West. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? They're coming right out in the open and saying that they're going to, go after people online. They're going to charge people for posting things online. They're going to charge people for being terrorists, for being white and Christian. And they're going to make this council and get this commissioner and these advisors to decide on behalf of the federal government who is a terrorist and who's not. That's another thing. It's not like these people are elected. The federal government's going to appoint people to the council and as the commissioner, and most likely as the advisors. They already fund groups to the tune of like, what is it, $500,000 a year? I think it's that. It's that or like $250K to groups like Anti-Hate, right? These are federal government groups. These are glowies, okay? And that's who's going to decide if you get to have a future family, if you're going to, get your kids taken away from you, if you're going to lose your job. That's insane. And people just want to sit here and still talk about the masks. Yeah, I get it. I don't want to wear a mask either. Right? But you have all these people out here saying, "Oh, we can't wear the masks." And behind closed doors, the federal government is appointing people to literally ruin your life.